Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillars. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media, and you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well, but what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button, and everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this, and it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are here with another, what I anticipate, another great episode. We are going to be talking about a very interesting thing that I have covered before. But hey, of course it needs to be covered again because of what we got going on. So, we need to get at it again, y'all. But we're going to deal with, and I got to get this on for the record, y'all. If you've seen something like this before, you should understand. I got to get to them for the record. All right. There is no such thing as abusive relationships, y'all. Yep, that's what we're going to talk about. There's no such things as abusive relationships. And some of y'all who've been around, y'all may know why that makes a little bit of sense. Some of y'all who think it don't make no sense, we're going to catch you up to speed so you can see how it makes sense. Because, I ain't saying you crazy because if you think it don't make sense, because you ain't never actually thought about it for real. That's right. Ain't no such thing as an abusive relationship, okay? That's what we got going on. All right? But before we get into this, y'all, got to take a quick moment out to give a shout out to the people who help make things happen around here the way that they do, because I can't do it the same way without these folks. So now, first of all, I'm going to say this. For those who give me views, because I got great supporters, y'all. I got great supporters. For those who give me views on a regular basis, shout out to all of you all. Shout out to all of y'all. Thank you very much for what you do. Even for y'all who come through and y'all hate watch sometime, I appreciate you because, sometimes my haters give me inspiration on the next shows I should do and things that need to be addressed. So, the haters are welcome too. The haters are welcome here. We don't do echo chambers over here, y'all. We don't do that over here. You come say what you want to say. You just gonna say it respectfully. Okay. Now, also shout out to the people who make comments after the stream. Those help a great deal with the algorithm. So thank you for everyone who does that. I appreciate you. Y'all know who y'all are. People like Hydra Catastrophic. Appreciate you, brother, big time. Appreciate you, brother, big time. That's always helpful. So thank you very much. Shout out to everybody who hits those like buttons. And remember, no matter how old the stream is, you can still hit the like button. It's still going to help. It doesn't make a difference. Okay. Just hit that like. Just make sure you get to it earlier rather than later. And y'all hype me up. Okay. Y'all hype me up. You got the best show on social media coming to you. You might as well hype me up. Okay. It makes it a little bit easier for me to get this done the way it needs to be done. And shout out to the people who go, a step out of the way. The people who show more support than I can ask for. The people who hook me up and do me right. People who help me, make this thing come true. The people who financially support the stream, I can never give them enough praise. So shout out to, and we get our own sponsorship around here, y'all. We get our own sponsorship around here, okay? Some people, they taking money and they saying certain stuff because people paying them certain money. Yeah, people gonna do stuff like that, y'all. People gonna do stuff like that. But we get our own sponsorships over here, y'all. And they come straight from the audience. So shout out to my main man, T. Blaine, who is the sponsor of today's stream. Thank you very much for what you do. Thank you very much for what you do. Appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate you. And let me say something to a couple of people who've checked in right from the beginning. When you start a show, it's always great to see you got people checking in. You get your favorites, y'all. And if you ain't done this already, you need to make sure you get a few of these under your belt, y'all. You need to get a few of these under your belt. Everyone, quote unquote, can do it. But you're going to do what it takes to do it, okay? You're going to do what it takes to do it. And I got to say shout out to I'm Listening. He ain't got one in a while, but he got one today. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you in the building. Shout out to Trail Bentley representing. Hashtag Long Live the Habitual Line Steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the Wilderness. Hashtag Dignity Over Vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's baby. Hashtag Hell Hydra. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. The Righteous Teacher is here. Shout out to Inspired Truth Broadcast. My main man, Floyd Thompson, is in the house. We got King Rule TV in the building. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Boot Camp is here. What's going on, my brother? What's going on? And shout out to the pit master himself, my main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable is in the building. Always great to see you, of course. Always great to see y'all. And him and the pit crew, they help keep things in order around here, y'all. So if it get too wild, don't blame Roger. Roger took the pressure off. Roger took the pressure off himself. That goes to the pit crew now. Shout out to the pit crew. And shout out to Andrew Breaker. Y'all, he new around here, said he subscribed about a week ago, but welcome to the family, my brother. Welcome to the family. Shout out to Superstar J Quick. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Kevin 3905 is here. Afro Merchant is checking in. My main man, all my hoes demonetized, is in the building. Shout out to the Saute Sheriff. Mr. Suge to you is checking in. Great to see you, brother. Dolomite done came through, y'all. Dolomite done came through, okay? Shout out to, don't worry, Dolomite. We gonna help you. We gonna help. We gonna help. Shout out to Tunnel Runner. Dolomite said black little trauma bomb. We gonna help, man. They ain't got to do all that. They ain't got to do all that, man. We gonna help. But y'all, we gonna get into it, y'all. We gonna get into it. A very, very serious subject that black folks need to know how to talk about from a mature level. Because when you talk about things from a mature level, you can actually make some things actually get better. And you won't be subjugated to doing things like that newest, I'm gonna say a newer term that the gentleman just put in the chat, trauma bond. You ain't got to worry about trauma bonding if you deal with stuff from a mature level. And we don't want nobody trauma bonding over here. I ain't gonna recommend for nobody to be out there trauma bonding. But if you're going to be able to avoid quote unquote trauma bonding, you got to look at things in a proper perspective. So y'all, for those of us who live in America, which is basically a free country, and those of us who live in a few other places around the world, shout out to all my people who listen from around the world, because some of them have some of the freedoms we have. I mean, I have every freedom we have in America, but they got some of them. You know, and shout out to all the places around the world with a little bit of freedom for the citizens, y'all. Shout out to all the places around the world with a little bit of freedom for the citizens. That's good. It's good for the citizens to have some freedom. All right. Now, when it comes down to it, y'all, we have what is called socially voluntary relationships. When you talk about man and woman getting together doing their thing, that's socially voluntary relationships. Now, there are places in the world where you don't get to have these choices. See, you get to pick who you want to pick. All right. And what a lot of us don't like to do, because we avoid being mature, we avoid taking responsibility at times, or, you know, what y'all see women have an issue with on a regular basis, they avoid taking accountability. You are not forced into a relationship in this country. Now, some people think that's for the good. Some people think it's for the bad. But whichever side you fall on, we know you are not forced into a relationship in this country. It will take a lot of effort for someone to illegally force you in a relationship in this country. You try to force somebody in a relationship in this country, we will literally lock you up. I'm talking about put you in prison. We literally put you in prison over stuff like that. So who do people deal with on a regular basis? They deal with the people they want to deal with. That's what it comes down to. When you get real, they deal with the people they want to deal with. All right. Now, when you deal with the people you want to deal with, whose fault is it that you're in a relationship? Because in a relationship, you got to have two people that said yes. Okay. Both parties have to say yes to this relationship for the relationship to exist. Both parties. So the man got to say yes and the woman has to say yes. Now let's keep it real. If we like ourselves, if we love ourselves, are we saying yes to the things that we don't want or the things that we do want? Now, see, this is where people have to make some tough situations or think about some tough ideas and how they live their own life. When you are in a relationship with a person, are you in a relationship with the person you want to be in a relationship with or the person you don't want to be in a relationship with? Now, think about it, y'all. Context is everything. Yeah, so follow the context. Follow the context. Because a lot of people say, well, you know, the thing is, you know, and y'all, a lot of men are going to say this about doing me. See, the thing is, you couldn't get the man you wanted. Now, everybody didn't get the person they wanted unless you married your high school sweetheart. Okay? This is the reality, y'all. People say it as an insult sometimes, but the reality is nobody got the person they wanted unless you ended up with your high school sweetheart. That's just the way it goes. Okay? Now, you could have been with somebody before you got into high school. That rarely happens. But typically, if you're not with your high school sweetheart, you didn't get who you want. It's that simple at the end of the day. You didn't get who you wanted. You got somebody else. And a lot of us, because of ego, we be worried about being the top person. Okay, I was the top person. I was the best thing she ever came across. I was the best thing he ever came across. Whatever, man. Ain't none of us with that quote unquote special person unless we with our high school sweetheart. And shout out to all the people who was actually making with their high school sweethearts, who got married, live a life, had kids, and all that type of stuff. But see, people will say things that try to make you feel bad because sometimes they do it just out of plain stupidity because they don't actually think about the stuff they saying. You know, Because somebody said that to me. See, the issue is you ain't get who you wanted. Bro, who does? The average person is not with their high school sweetheart. So we're not getting the people we wanted. We're getting other things. Okay? We're getting other things. Okay? That's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. So trying to shame somebody for not getting the person they wanted, I just don't see that as the most mature thing to do. It don't come across right. It don't really make sense at the end of the day. Okay, that's called a normal human experience, at least in this country. Okay, that's a normal human experience. You are probably not gonna marry the person who is your high school sweetheart. It's a very small group of people that do that, and they can actually stay married and things work out fine. Okay, that's a very, very small group of people. It just is what it is. Okay, that you should look at that as somebody saying, but see, that's why you ain't the richest man in the world. Well, only one person can hold that spot. Only one dude gonna be the richest man in the world. It's not really an insult. Okay, people say stuff to make it sound like an insult, but it ain't an insult. So people are with the people they want to be with, because when you no longer want to be with that person, you just end the relationship. That can happen on the men's side, even though black men don't really ever too much break up with anyone. We need to get ourselves together about that. And I'm just real talk. We need to get ourselves fixed up when it comes to that. But a man could end that. A man could end that. Okay. Shout out to Kevin 3905. I see you cracking jokes down there, bro. I see you cracking jokes down there. But a man could end the relationship, even though black men really don't. Okay. But a woman can also end the relationship. She ain't got to be there either. So two people can create the end of that relationship. Two people can do it. Okay. Two people can do it. All right. Just is what it is. So now we have people who try to focus on things and try to, quote unquote, make the world a better place. I think some of them actually try. I think some of them are just trying to manipulate society. You got to figure out who's doing what. It's on you at the end of the day, because you have to be held accountable for what you believe. I don't have to be held accountable for what you believe, but you will. Okay? So now the thing is, could you be in a socially voluntary society when it comes to relationships and somehow be in an abusive relationships? Now, people have added more terms. See, back in the day, when I grew up, when you said something about an abusive relationship, you were talking about somebody getting beat on. That's what you were talking about. Okay, wasn't a whole bunch of other stuff to go with it. People was literally talking about somebody getting beat on in a relationship. Nowadays, people are pushing more nonsense or more propaganda or more reasons, depending upon how you view it. They not only say you can have a physically abusive relationship, people say you can have a financially abusive relationship. You can have a mentally abusive relationship. You can have a verbally abusive relationship. And I'm pretty sure they're going to keep coming up with stuff to throw at some type of abusive relationship. But let's examine what a relationship is. A relationship is a man who socially, voluntarily decides to be with a woman. And that woman also agreed to socially, voluntarily be with him. Now, a lot of us got different beliefs. Some of us got different quirks. We got different people in this country. So some of us are just plain different people. For instance, you got white folks. White people do a lot of weird stuff. Okay. Just is what it is. We know they do weird stuff. Okay. Now, possibly they look at black people and say they do weird stuff too, but more than likely they just say we do cool stuff because they really like a lot of stuff that we do. So they look at it and say it's cool. All right. But realistically speaking, people do different things. Okay, y'all. And when it comes to who you like in a relationship, there's some differences that people have. Some people are kind of weird. It just is what it is. They into certain things that are, some people say it's kinky. Some folks will call it weird. Some people may say it's exotic. You know, people do get into these sexual relationships where people are far wilder than I ever thought about being, y'all. Because I used to think I was a freak. Okay. I did used to think that. I will never claim to be a freak again, y'all. Okay. Shout out to Diddy, y'all. Okay. Shout out to Diddy. Diddy has put me in a position where I will never tell another person I'm a freak ever again. And that's just real talk. Okay, that's just real talk. I ain't gonna never make that claim again. I'm done. Now I'm not saying Diddy did anything wrong. I'm just saying certain things that came out, during that case where they was definitely lynching that man. Certain things came out, man. I can't say freak no more. Okay. Now don't get me wrong. I may be listening to a song and get freak in it or something. Let me lick you up and down or something. I may use the term freak. But Diddy done put me out the running, Joe. He done put me out the running. I ain't gonna never claim that again. It's over with, okay? But y'all, there are people who like to come off the turnbuckle from a sexual standpoint. There are people who do that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Trail Bentley. He said, can't listen to Silk the same way now. Shout out to Silk, though. Shout out to Silk. But y'all, my point is there are different things that people are into. Some people are into some very different things sexually. Some people, they do some things that other people can look at weird, but a whole other group of people kind of weird. People do role play. Some people might think it's weird to role play. Some people might think it's cool to role play. We do different things. Some men like to wear the pants in the house, okay? And let's keep it real, y'all. There have been some men who have been conditioned to let their woman wear the pants. It is what it is. Okay. Over here at the Roger Report Live, we're going to be real, even if it hurts a little bit sometime. We're going to be real, even if it hurts a little bit sometime. So, yes, we do have some men who simply now prefer their woman to wear the pants in a relationship. That does happen. Okay. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not saying I'm happy for a man in that situation. I'm going to pray for him. But I do have to recognize that there is a percentage of men who will be much happier with their woman wearing the pants in a relationship. It just is what it is. Okay. Hopefully we can get that fixed up, but gotta acknowledge some things are true. So now, when you live in America and you can be with any kind of person you want to be, you may not be able to get exactly who you want. A lot of women wanted Denzel back in the day. Only one woman got her. Okay. A lot of people wanted Denzel. Shout out to Pauletta. Okay. She got him. Nowadays is more toward Michael B. Jordan. A lot of women. Well, heck, there are some gay people out there, but but a lot of women want Michael B. Jordan. Okay, they won't. They can't get him. Okay, now the man is of age. He's single. The women like the way he look. The man stay in great shape. He do movie roles and all that. And a lot of women ain't figured out the only reason they're not married to a Michael B. Jordan because they are not good enough for Michael B. Jordan. They should have figured this out so they can be with the guy. Okay, if I had a daughter, would I recommend her be with Michael B. Jordan? Yeah, if she in that age range, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He seems to come up be a very good guy. I personally like the guy, the way he comes across in interviews. You know, seems like a pretty good guy overall. All right. But a lot of women can't accept the fact that he's just not good enough for Michael B. Jordan. And that's just a famous example. There's a lot of other Michael B. Jordans out there who ain't necessarily rich or famous, but they're good guys. They're in good shape. Okay. Nice looking guys, professional guys. Okay. They do what they do and they do what they do well. Okay. And they can't figure out most of them ain't good enough to get those guys. And that's their own fault at the end of the day. But let's keep it real, y'all. People come together when there's both of them see something that's gonna where they can benefit from the other person. Okay. Now, some people will tell you, you shouldn't get in a relationship to benefit from the other person. Now, we all get some form of benefit from the other person. And if you cannot find the benefit, why would you go into that relationship? It doesn't make sense. Now, is it abusive for a person to go into a relationship where they can get no benefits from it? Is that abusive? Because a lot of folks will try to frame something like that and say, well, this person was doing this and this person was doing that, and they was able to enjoy this benefit and that benefit, while the other person didn't get to enjoy no benefits at all. What if I socially, voluntarily decided to be in a relationship with a person where I could not get any benefit whatsoever? Am I being abused? Now, I'm not going to say that's a good thing. I'm not going to say it's something I would recommend anybody do. But am I going to say it's abusive for a person to be in a relationship where they get zero benefits? No, I'm not going to say that's abusive at all, because I'm not a liar. Okay. Now, have I lied at some point in time in my life? Sure. And I believe everybody has. But to truly be, in proper context, a liar, that's somebody who lies on a regular basis. Okay. Now, I know for myself, if I were to meet a woman and we decide to get into a relationship and I don't benefit at all from this relationship with this woman, the one thing I'm not going to do is become a liar and say she abused me. We both agreed to be in that relationship. We both had a chance to be good to the other person. Whatever her level of good is, it benefited me none. Now, I could be in that relationship for 6 days. I could be in that relationship for 6 months. I could be in that relationship for 6 years. But where was I abused if I kept showing up voluntarily? Where was I abused? Now, when you think about a man doing that, most folks accept that the man was not abused. Okay? Most folks accept the man is not abused. Now, that's a very rational thing to come to. That's a very intelligent conclusion to come to. The man was not abused if he voluntarily took part in that relationship, whether it was 6 days, 6 months, or 6 years. Heck, it could have been 6 decades. I don't see no abuse when you're volunteering to be in there. But now, for some reason, people act like the same thing don't go into effect when a woman volunteers to be in a relationship. Okay? I don't care whether it's 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, or even 6 decades. If that woman, if my beautiful black sister, my beautiful black queen goddess, okay? My beautiful black mother of the earth. if my queen mother moon decides to be in a relationship, whether it be 6 days, 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 years, 6 decades, and the guy she with slaps upside her head every single day. Every single day. I cannot find where the abuse is. Okay? I cannot find where the abuse is. Okay? Because all I know is she kept showing up. Okay? She kept showing up. Shout out to Shaka Nulu. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Shaka Nulu, ain't you supposed to have a wrench, my brother? Ain't you supposed to have a wrench? I'm looking at your name, brother. Ain't you supposed to have a wrench? What the heck? Shout out to Trill Billy. He say she knows he from the Slapaho tribe, but stays away. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna act like the Slapaho tribe ain't out there, y'all. Okay, but they need love too, right? Don't they need love too? Don't they need love too? Now, again, y'all, we in America, you know, and some people listen around the world, y'all may be in a place that's similar to America, so you also can be in a socially voluntary relationship, and ain't nobody forcing it upon you. You in the relationship you want to be in. How do I know you want to be in it? Because you're still in it. That's how I know. Okay. Women would say all kinds of ways they was in a relationship they didn't want to be in. I was like, well, what was keeping you there? And for some reason, they can't tell me anything that actually kept them there. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you came home and you unlocked the door so you can get in the house? Is that what you did? Yeah, I got keys to the place. So you can leave out and come back in whenever you want. Yeah, I can. But see, he was beating on me. I mean, what you mean he was beating on you? He was physically abusing me. No, he wasn't. You know, how could a man physically abuse you and you got keys to the residence? Whether it's a house, whether it's an apartment, whether it's a mansion, how can a man abuse you and you got keys? Now, I ain't gonna lie. If you did not have keys and you didn't get to go outside every day, okay? If you couldn't go talk to your neighbor, okay? You couldn't get on social media and tell your story, okay? You can't talk to your mama and them, okay? You can't talk to your cousins and them. You can't talk to your friends and them, okay? All the M&Ms you got, and you don't have access to any of those M&Ms. Maybe I could see how you were getting abused in a relationship. Maybe I could see that. I probably could. You know, it probably wouldn't be such a difficult view. But when you try to tell me, a grown man, okay, who's just, I'm just going to say fairly intelligent, y'all. You ain't got to be no rocket science. But you're going to tell me as a fairly intelligent man, okay? just decent level of intelligence, normal human intelligence. You going to tell me you was in an abusive relationship and you got keys? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay? So y'all, a lot of women lose me because they got keys. And a lot of women don't get that, especially when I ask them, do they got keys? Because they get a little confused because, you know, I'm going to say realistically, anyone they ever talked to about being in an abusive relationship probably never asked them if they had keys. Okay? We like to fall into a lot of stuff that feels comfortable, so we don't have to truly be accountable to the behavior that we like. So, you know, they probably never been asked, do they have keys? Now, of course, I'm asking them, do they have keys? Because I'm trying to figure out, can they walk in and out whenever they want to? You know? And normally, what I have gotten, I only have to say normal. I could say 100% of what I got is the women that I've talked to who claim they were truly being abused literally can voluntarily leave and come back whenever they want to. Now, I know a lot of women will make this claim. They'll say, I couldn't leave a man because he's crazy. I couldn't leave this guy because I was afraid he was going to get me. She had keys the whole time. Now, how am I supposed to believe you can't leave this guy? And you know what, y'all? I'm gonna tell you the truth. Something I found out that was very interesting amongst women who claim they are abused. Do y'all know a lot of those women got jobs? Now I know it might be some people out there never thought about that, and you may not even see the point of acknowledging that they have jobs. And I'm not just talking about they go, to the corner and work 2 hours. No, I'm talking about they got like full-time jobs. Okay. A lot of women who claim that they are abused have full-time jobs. Now, what does that mean? That means she can go out into the world for 8+ hours in a day and come home and it's not even in question. They got actual jobs. Now, you know why that sounds crazy to me? Because, I'm not going to ever tell y'all I'm this mathematical genius, but by my math, okay, my math, I can handle basic math. I can handle basic math. Just with my little basic math, what I cannot figure out is how a person who swears they're being abused can leave a home for more than 8 hours on a given day and they are employed. What I don't understand is how they can't find another job even outside the house. They don't even have to look for a job while they're in the home. In today's world, it done got so much easier because people like to go to apply over the internet anyway. You ain't gotta actually go to no physical location. You just apply over the internet. Now, I don't see why people can't do this during lunch hours, breaks, and things like that. I'm sorry if I'm not as smart as some of y'all. Okay, please forgive me if I'm not as smart as some of y'all. I don't see how a person, if they were truly being abused and they believe they had nowhere else to go, they got no help. For some reason, they got no help. Now, these people got relatives and everything, but for some reason, they ain't got no help. What I do not understand, if I was in a position where I have no help, I don't know how that's going to actually happen. Unless you was an orphan or something, I can get it, but that ain't most folks. But if I was a woman, I really believed I had no help, but I got a full-time job, would I just apply to other places while I'm at work? I could just fill out applications with the internet. Now, before the internet came, I could have just drove to places and fill out applications on my lunch hour. It's not that difficult. I get a job at another location. All right. I change jobs. I don't tell the man. He don't know squat about the new job. Okay. Once I get that first check off the new job, I may not need the first check because if I may work if I work the beginning job until I get that new job, depending on how them checks are gonna come in, I just boom, I go get a new place, I'm set. Because if I got a job, what can I do? I can save money. It's that simple at the end of the day. I can move on vacation. Nobody even got to know. The old job ain't got to know about the new job. You can't tell him why I start working if I ain't tell you. I don't get it, y'all. I'm not smart enough to know how to be trapped. I'm just gonna say that because I know there's some people out there, and I know deep in your heart you think you smarter than me. Deep in your heart, you say you think you so much smarter than Roger. And I'm not gonna say you ain't, but I'm gonna tell you I'm not smart enough to know how to be trapped. Because I think I would just use door locks to leave and not come back. I'm not smart enough to know how to be trapped. Just is what it is. So now, if a person is voluntarily showing up to be in a relationship, even if they claim the relationship is abusive, even if that's a serious claim, they believe it deep in their heart. I'm talking about they make this claim, they got tears flowing down, and they really believe that they are in an abusive relationship. They really believe it's the heart. What I can't figure out is how to be trapped, because I'm just not smart enough to know how to be trapped, y'all. I'm not smart enough. If the windows work, I know a way to exit. If the doors work, I know a way to exit. If the windows nor the doors work, I would just make a hole and leave. I'm not smart enough to be trapped. Now, I understand people could take that some kind of way. I don't mean it no kind of way, but what it actually is. I'm just not smart enough to be trapped because I'm so simple-minded and I'm just going to do stuff that makes sense. I just don't know how to be trapped. If you don't physically lock me in, I don't know how to be trapped. I'm just going to use a regular old door to leave. I'm just going to leave and go to a new job like I was going to my old job. And I would just simply never come back home. If I was in an abusive relationship as a woman, I leave and just never come back home. That's it. I'm not telling dude I'm going nowhere. I ain't even telling dude it's over with. I just go to work and he'll see me go to work one day, or he'll go to work and then he expects me to go to work and I just never come home one day. He'll call me. I just never answer the phone. It seems simple to me. Now what he gonna do? Go to my quote unquote mama house and threaten my mama? You'll never be able to get the threat to me, because guess what I'm not gonna do? I'm not gonna be at my mama house. You know where my mama live, right? So I'm just gonna take a break from going to my mama house. And what you gonna do? You gonna go there and tell my mama she better show up? This is what I be thinking. If I'm a female, this is what I would be doing. Now I know some females, they claim, well, he said he gonna hurt my family. I never get that message because I wouldn't visit my mama for probably about a good month. So when he go to my mama house to make idle threats, and they're gonna be idle, guess what my mama gonna say? I ain't heard from him. I can't help you. I don't even know where she at. It don't take a lot of effort to do that, y'all. It don't take a lot of effort to do that. So now, I'm not a woman. I ain't trying to be one. Okay. But let's get to it, y'all. There's men that get abused. Because one of the secrets of the Black community, okay, is that Black women are very violent and they're abusive. And they hit men on a regular basis. They don't see nothing wrong with it. And a lot of men, because a lot of men have been trained to be suckers, they believe that it's okay for a woman to hit them. They hear stupid stuff like, well, she can't hurt you. No, she could. Everybody can hurt everybody. A baby can hurt you if they hit you the right way with the right thing. Okay? She can hurt you. Your ego want to believe she can't hurt you because you got an ego and you want to feel some type of way about yourself. Now, me, I just understand how life works. If someone hits me the right way, it's gonna hurt, period. Okay? For some of y'all who may not know, because you wasn't around when on my other channels, my mama told me one time, don't hit your little brother. Okay, she was talking about a specific little brother. Don't hit your little brother. That's what she told me, right? If he started doing something, you ain't got to hit him. You older than him. You bigger than him. Gave me the whole little spiel. Don't hit your little brother. And you know what I did one day, y'all? We got into it, y'all. We got into it. Yep, me and my little brother got into it, y'all. I never tell y'all my family was perfect. I ain't never say it was perfect. They good folks, but they ain't perfect. So me and my little brother got into it, right? We was small children. Now I listened to my mama, and I ain't do nothing. Okay, my little brother was hitting me, man, and I was not hitting him back. And you know what happened to me? I got a black eye. That's what happened to me. I got a black eye. Now I don't know where it is, which I've admitted before. Maybe my mama do. But I got some pictures from grammar school, y'all, or grade school, however you talk about it. I got some pictures. I could go, if I really wanted to look, I can go find a little kid picture of me with a black eye from that one time that I listened to my mama about not hitting somebody back. Okay? And what it gave me? It got me a black eye. That's what it got me. And not only did it get me a black eye, because I wouldn't hit nobody back, it got me to be able to go to school. I don't know exactly when, y'all, but it was close to picture day, y'all. It was close to picture day. So I had a nice shiner on picture day. Okay? Not only did it give me a black eye, not only did I get made of by my friends, not only did I get made fun of from random people, I got a memento about taking bad advice. You know, it was my mama, but was that bad advice? I'm gonna have to say yes. Yo. I'm gonna have to go with yes. Yo, my mama ain't perfect either, y'all. My mama ain't perfect either. So she gave me that not so great advice to don't hit your little brother back. And what I win for that? A picture of me with a black eye as a little kid. That's what I got for listening to that bad advice. Now I love my mama. I get it. She was trying. That was the best she could do at the time. But once we put that advice to the test, it failed. Okay? It just is what it is. I love my mama, but I ain't got to lie for her. Okay? I love my mama, but I ain't got to lie for her. All that advice got me was a black eye. Y'all know what's crazy? I ain't had a black eye since. That's what's crazy. Well, you know what? Maybe, possibly, I had a black eye. I told y'all before. I actually was in a coma before I did get. I had a crazy situation that happened. If I actually told it to y'all, you wouldn't even believe it. Possibly, I had a black eye then, but by the time I woke up, it was gone. Okay, so as far as I know, I ain't had a black eye before, and I ain't had a black eye since. Listening to some bad advice about never hitting back, and I didn't do it. Okay, and I didn't do it. All right. And when you're a little kid, y'all, and you live nearby your school, while you got that black eye, it's gonna be a few days and you walking home from school with your friend. And guess what we talk about on the way home? Now you've been laughed at and joked on all day in school, but guess what we gonna talk about on the way home? We gonna talk about that black eye. Okay. Your friend gonna do some investigative reporting. Okay. They gonna be a full-on journalist while you walk home from school. Okay, I hear what you said while we was at school, but for real, how you get the black eye? Okay, you say it's your little brother. Well, how you do it then? You know, what's the truth? Tell us, give me the real story. They going full journalist mode on how you got that black eye. Now, could I look at my little brother and believe I was in an abusive relationship with my little brother? Nah, I never believe that. I never see my little brother as a person to abuse me. I just took some bad advice from my mama. My mama tried to help, but you know, I should have talked to my daddy. That's all I can say. I should have talked to my daddy. Shout out to Alonzo Hall. I see you, my brother. Okay. Now, this is the thing. My brother, I couldn't pick my brother. You know, we just came into the family. We came in, God picked that for us. We ain't had nothing that we could do about that situation, especially when we kids. But as an adult, you can be in a relationship with a person, and that relationship is voluntary. All right? It is socially voluntary. So when you choose to be in a socially voluntary relationship, does it make sense to claim that you've been abused? Now, I hear women say all the time they get abused. Now, the crazy part about women saying they get abused is they so violent. You know, you got this highly volatile group of black women. They claim they're in abusive relationships, but they're so violent at the same time. It's amazing. It's just amazing how that can work out. It's amazing how that can work out. You know, it's crazy work, as they say. Now, They don't have to be violent. They just choose to be. Okay. There are even people who make excuses for black women being violent. They'll tell you it come from slavery or something else. They just make up stuff of why they violent. But in reality, the reason people are violent because they choose it. It's that simple at the end of the day. Now, a lot of people would say, well, Roger, what if you was in a tough situation yourself? Well, I understand when I choose violence, I'm choosing it. But I don't choose violence to so I can tell nobody I'm choosing violence. No, I choose violence to win. That's what I do. Now I'm old enough now, I should never have to really be in a violent situation again, But if it came up, it come up. I can't even fix that. So no. I choose violence so I can win. If I think that's what I need to do to win, then that's what I'm gonna do. Because I'm not gonna choose to just lose for no reason. Now, don't get it twisted, y'all. If somebody's claiming to attack me or something, or they just selling me wolf tickets, I ain't finna fight them. I let people have wolf tickets all day long. It's only when I actually assess you as a real threat would I ever do something to you. So, and I know most people just talking. Okay, that people talk. People want to look good in front of crowds. People want to look superior and all that type of stuff. I don't let that stuff bother me. I really don't. Okay. Now, when it comes to me and a woman, I just can't see. Well, I'm not going to abuse her because I just don't want to abuse my woman. My woman should not have to be abused. She's my woman. She should be treated better than other people's women. And yeah, I'm going to say that, y'all. My woman should be treated better than other people's women. Okay. And I will hope if you have a woman that you would look at your woman the same way, and you should believe that your woman should be treated better than other men's women. That's what I would think. Because if you can't see that in your own woman, I don't understand why you would be with her. And that's just real talk. Okay. But my main man, Tunnel Runner, then came up. So let me go ahead and give Tunnel Runner the mic. What's going on, my brother? How you doing?
Everything is good. Everything is good, brother. Roger, I just want you to know that I have four co-workers, two women, one rainbow worker, and another and a
Well,
male that say,
let
"Go
me
ahead."
say, call them alternative lifestyle over here. I'm not going because I'm trying to be a better Christian. I ain't finna give people the rainbow, man. That's something God gave to us. I ain't giving it to them. So I got you. Got an alternative lifestyle coworker, but continue, my brother. Continue.
And yes, and one male worker, and they say that I'm abusing my wife, that I have an abusive relationship with my wife, but they say that I work her too hard and she does too much for me, and they say that's abusive. And I tell them that she's very happy doing what I ask her to do, and I do things for her, and she does things for me. But they say that I have an abusive relationship because she cooks for me and cleans and does some other things, and they think that's abusive.
You know what, Runner, this is where we have to acknowledge that people have a right to be stupid. Okay. I've said many times that stupidity is a choice. And y'all see why I say stupidity is a choice? Because people do things like what Tunnel Runner just reported, y'all. He has coworkers that think he's abusive because his wife is looking out for him. It's hard to teach somebody to stop being stupid. Okay, you can give somebody knowledge, but it's hard to teach somebody to stop being stupid. They're voluntary to be stupid. Okay. Now, of course, it is not abusive for a woman to cook for her own husband, especially. I remember when women used to show off and they would cook and show people how well they can cook. That actually helped them get husbands back in the day. So for somebody to say your wife is being abused because you are allowing her to show off on a regular basis on how she can throw down in the kitchen, I think that person's an idiot. And that's just real talk. And y'all, this is why I say a person can be great in one area, but be a complete idiot in another area. Okay. Because they do have a job. He said they co-workers, so they got a job some kind of way, but they're clearly not smart people. They just clearly not smart people. There's no critical thinking going on, and they and that scenario over there. There's just no critical thinking going on at all. But now, let me ask you, Tony Runner, what kind of relationships they got? Are they happy? Are they satisfied? Are they married?
No, three of them, at least three of them are not married.
Those
One
are the
might
women,
be
right?
married. One woman's not married, and both of the males are not married.
Okay. Well, and I don't really even care so much about the men because men are different than women. But I'm not surprised that the woman ain't married. It doesn't surprise me at all. Because see, the thing about the men is they can get a relationship with a woman. They can never require their wife to actually cook anything because that's their choice as men. But I'm gonna say y'all do pay attention to certain choices men make and how it doesn't turn out the best for them. A man never has to require his woman to make a dish at all. But I'm gonna say it's probably not a coincidence that the men who think cooking for them is abusive aren't married because they probably don't come off sane to sane women. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Now y'all can believe in coincidence all day. I don't really believe in coincidence like that. When stuff is happening, it's probably happening for a very obvious reason, and that's just real talk. You know, but it does. It. I definitely expected the woman to not be married. But as a man, if you try to go so much over to the other side, women can peep demo and they kind of stay away from it too. Okay, some of them gonna stay away from it. They can peep pandering too. I'm just gonna say that is there are women who can peep out the fact that you're pandering. Women know people are pandering. It's just people go because they want to get pandered to, which is something black men don't pay attention to enough. They go because they want to get pandered to. Okay, they know it ain't real, but they want to hear it, so they go and they listen to it. Okay, they gonna read a book about it, or they gonna watch a movie about it. They know it ain't real, but they want the illusion. So now, Tana Murder, do you actually abuse your wife in any kind of way?
No, no, no. I think she would agree with me. My wife would agree that I don't abuse her.
Well, she's normally preparing you very nice meals. Does she normally have a smile on her face when she's preparing those meals?
Yeah. Yes, yes. She always has a smile on her face, and she always wants to say a prayer for me.
Now, Tana Runner, I mean, you got somewhat of a track record. Did you eat breakfast this morning? Did you get breakfast this morning?
Yes, I did. I had an omelet with hot sauce, spinach, and some ginger tea, coffee, and some vanilla wafer.
Was it delicious, Tony Runner? What was it delicious?
Yes, it was very, very good, very good, very good. I enjoyed it.
Do you feel sick?
No, no, I don't. I
So
feel healthy.
she ain't put no poison in it, ain't no glass in it, ain't no nothing, and you getting delicious meals daily, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tony Runner, it's hard for me to believe that this woman could ever see whatever's going on between y'all as abusive. Cause she seemed to be cooking you nice food all the time. You come share different meals and whatnot that you get. And you even tell her sometimes she's squeezing and you're getting freshly squeezed juice and everything. Now, I'm gonna say if some man was quote unquote making some woman make him honest on a regular basis, freshly squeezing his juice on a regular basis or whatever, you know, if she's doing this and she putting as they say, a little love in it, how am I supposed to believe that this woman is abused when she can do it voluntarily? Turn around. Did your wife have keys?
Yes, she has keys and she has a Nissan Sentra.
So she got keys and a car.
Correct.
So she literally could just drive away if she was being abused.
Correct. Correct.
Mm-mm-mm. Do y'all see why I say there are no abusive relationships? If you think she's being abused, she got keys and a car. All she got to do is drive away. And y'all, this is the thing about women, okay? Let's be realistic. They can get a new guy in the day if they just tell some guy a story. Yeah, I just left this man. I'm never going back home because he's abusing me. How many men gonna let her come stay with him? It's gonna be plenty. Let's just keep it real, y'all. It's gonna be plenty. Okay? It's gonna be plenty. Now we got a man getting freshly squeezed juice, and these idiots talking about he abusing his wife. You know what? These people don't get freshly squeezed juice. You know that, don't you, turn around? You know they're not getting freshly squeezed juice.
Yeah, I know. I don't see him bringing no food in. I don't see no lunch, no dinner, nothing. I don't see him bringing any food into work.
So people coming to work with lunches being made for them, but you got people who think she's getting abused, but ain't no lunches being made for them. Now is that a coincidence? I think not. Well,
Roger, one girl's mad because I won't buy her a Gucci belt.
well, if she's mad about your wife not getting a Gucci belt, then maybe she's in an abusive relationship. That's all I can. You know, she needs to worry about getting her own Gucci belt instead of some other woman getting a Gucci belt. You know, so my thing is like, y'all, what is abuse? What is not abuse? And I'm gonna say for those in America, because I don't know how it works every other single place around the world. But if you happen to live in America, I'm just gonna tell you flat out, you are not in an abusive relationship. Whatever it is that other people may say is bad, you love it. That's why you're there. You like being talked to like you're nothing. You like getting slapped around. You like being verbally reprimanded on a regular basis. Because if you didn't like that, you would not use keys to get in and lock the rest of the world out. You cannot be in an abusive relationship. How can I say you're being abused when you voluntarily come home so somebody, quote unquote, can punch you in the face? And I'm saying this, y'all, because I heard women tell me all kinds of stuff about how they getting abused. They done said all kinds of outlandish stuff. Now, some of it possibly could be true. I don't believe it. But I believe people were just making up stuff to put extra sauce on it, trying to get me to break and give them some level of sympathy behind these situations that they're claiming is happening. Yeah, he just took my head and he put it against the wall 3 times. And I just say stuff like, and you didn't leave after that? Because you do understand what you telling me some man rammed your head into a wall 3 times. That's not a nice thing. That's not a cool thing. That's not a thing you feel good after it happens. And you still didn't leave, but you want me to believe he did that? Come on now. I ain't the brightest man in the world, and I gotta pick what I choose to believe. I don't believe somebody rammed your head against the wall 3 times and you voluntarily stayed there. I don't believe that. Sorry. Okay. But Kevin 3905 is here. So you have the flow, my brother. How you doing?
Well, good morning, fellas. This is a very interesting topic here, man. What most of these women today consider abuse basically boils down to you telling them no. If they can't have their way and you tell them no, it's abuse. Whether they call it mental, physical, just all kind of, well, not the physical abuse, the mental abuse, the financial abuse, and all these other made up abuses. It just boils down to you telling them no. That's it. That's all it is. Now the physical abuse, you just volunteer for that. You just keep going in. You know, you don't went through round one with this dude, and you went back for round two and three and four, and eventually you're gonna get knocked out. You choosing that. I don't feel bad for these women. I mean, I don't see family members go in defending women in the family. They end up in jail because they don't beat dude up, and she don't bond dude out, and he jumping up and down into that night while you sitting your butt in jail. Man, ain't none of these women being held hostage, man. It's a lie. It's a lie. If you ain't filed a police report, I don't believe you. I just don't believe you, man. These chicks, They don't want nobody. They don't want to fall under nobody's leadership. They don't want nobody to tell them no. They don't want no correction. And they choose the worst possible men to date and to mate with. Man, I don't feel bad for none of these chicks, man. None of them.
Now I'm gonna say this, y'all, because you said something about that filing of a police report. Now I know years ago I said, number one, I don't even believe the stuff women telling me because they don't file no police reports, and that did, shout out to Kevin Samuels. He did actually make that a bigger thing when he took it to his platform. Because I just said flat out, I don't believe them because they don't file police reports. Why would I believe you and you didn't go to the police? Okay, I don't believe you. I think you're lying. Real talk. Okay, I don't think a guy did nothing that was bad because you won't file no police report on. Now, do I have the good sense to understand a woman can get hit on or something like that and then she not file a police report because she loves him? Oh, absolutely. That's why I don't believe in abuse.
It ain't
If you
abuse if
love
you
him
still love
enough,
him.
well, my point is if you love him enough not to tell, then it can't be abuse.
Bingo.
My little brother gave me a black eye. I didn't get mad at my little brother that I got a black eye. I got mad at my mama because it was her advice that I took that got me the black eye. If I wasn't
Oh,
listening to my mom, I wouldn't have got no black eye. You know?
oh, I'm upset with you at your inability to bob and weave, sir.
But we was young kids, so we was still developing then. That happened when I was very young. I don't know. That could have been like some second grade, maybe third grade. So it was way back then. So yeah, I probably couldn't bob and weave probably back then. And that's real talk. But the thing is, if you ain't found no report, how could it be abuse? And that's just real talk at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to believe a woman was abused because she filed a report, because women will file false police reports as well. So I'm not going to say that's going to even guarantee I'm a believer, but it's a lot more believable if you actually filed a report. It's a lot more believable if you filed a report. Now, this is the thing. It's about abuse. And again, people do different things in relationships. Y'all may do some things that I may consider weird. I might do something that you might consider weird, but it's y'all relationship to kind of do what y'all want to do with it. So how is it abuse if you keep volunteering to show back up? I'm not saying women don't get hit. I think a lot of women get hit because they hit men. Now, a lot of people have a hard time accepting that. I've been saying this since I was a child. Why? Because I grew up around black women. I seen how violent they are. Y'all think I grew up and didn't see black women hitting on kids? Well, I ain't gonna even say that like that, because you can take that and interpret that I mean somebody's mom. Y'all think I didn't see black girls hitting black boys when I was growing up? No, I saw it. Happened basically every day we was at school. They just are violent people. And I
Yep.
understand why they violent, because they really are not they're usually not made to deal with any consequences once they are violent. So I get it. It makes sense to me. Go ahead, what you was gonna say.
Oh, I was gonna say that they act like these women. They act like these women act like a man just wakes up one day and just say, you know what? I'm just gonna beat you up today for no reason. I'm just gonna beat you. No man does that. We look at, especially black men, we looking for peace. We got enough problems out in the world. We don't just wake up and just say, I just feel like beating up my woman today. It comes from somewhere. And usually it's mutual. It's usually mutual combat, and it might get out of control. I'm not saying a woman ain't never getting beat up, but I want to know why that man beat you up. What happened 5, 10 minutes before he beat you up?
Now I'm gonna say this. I don't even believe it's mutual combat. Black women are abusive because most black men won't hit them back. It could be mutual combat, and they just simply lose a fight with a man. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but most black men won't hit no black woman. He won't hit any woman at all. That's why I've been able to see men get abused regularly, because they're in a society, they don't even believe somebody's gonna hit them back, which is why they operate the way they do as adults. They don't even believe you're gonna touch them. Which means they're very much used to doing stuff without being touched. And my thing is, people say, well, black women have a violence problem. No, they don't have a violence problem. They just live in a society where they know when they get violent, no one's gonna do anything. And if you know ain't nobody gonna do nothing, why wouldn't you act like that? It makes all the sense in the world. But see, this is the thing. As men, and I know y'all get hit upside the head and don't say nothing. I know men, you're getting hit on by your woman and you ain't saying nothing. And I know black men ain't breaking up. See, this is the thing. Y'all in the same boat. Y'all getting hit on. But if I don't see a woman being abused because she keeps voluntarily coming back to that relationship, then I can't say the men getting abused either. Yeah, y'all see how that works? See, I'm doing something a lot of people don't actually want to do. People talk about they want equality. They want stuff to be fair. Well, no, fair is if you keep volunteering to be there, it's not abusive. It's something you like. I don't understand why you like it. I don't have to understand why you like it. But if you report to a woman who slaps you across your face every day and you got keys, and a lot of times a man is paying more for it because you got a rent or a mortgage, and usually the man is paying the higher end of the rent or the mortgage. You're paying to show up to get slapped. Now, can I say she's abusing you when you paying the mortgage or you paying the rent or even most of it? Heck, even if you only paying half. And truth be told, I don't care if it's free. If you keep showing up and you know she gonna slap you, can I say you're being abused as a man? Now you're not gonna hit her back, which is why she's slapping you regularly. Are you being abused? I don't see how you're getting abused. And y'all, I'm gonna say something that a lot of people are very uncomfortable with. I ain't never got hit by no girl, nor have I got hit by a woman who was not an authority. Now I ain't got whoopings by women. You know what I'm saying? In my family, anybody can just about give you a whooping. So that includes mama and the aunties too. So I didn't got whoopings by authority figures. I didn't got whoopings by teachers at school. They had my parents' permission to do what they thought was necessary. It just is what it is. That's the type of family I came up in. It is what it is. Now my mama would swear she ain't never touched me. So she done somehow forgot about all them whoopings. And I told y'all before, without me getting whoopings, I wouldn't be a decent person. I know I needed whoopings growing up. She gave me some of them. I can't say she gave all of them, but she gave me some of them. But she swear she ain't never did. But the thing is, as men, we show up, we pay for all this stuff, we buy stuff to make her comfortable. Some of y'all even pay for the clothes your woman got on when she slapping you across the face. Now, are you getting abused? And I understand men gonna say, well, but you know what's gonna happen if I hit her back, though. No, I don't know what's gonna happen if you hit her back. I really don't. I believe I do, but I don't think it's the answer you got. I think she just stopped hitting you. That's what I believe would happen if you hit her back. Yeah, I've said before there was a woman one time who actually hit me. Because I tell women in the beginning, if we gotta solve it with hands, then I'm going to solve it. I'm gonna beat the brakes off you, and then I'll just see your family when I see them. Because I know you're gonna send somebody running back. But see, I understand no matter what story a woman tells somebody, once she say I did something to her, they just gonna come in and they ain't looking to talk for nothing. So I'm just going ahead and put you in the hospital and we just call it a day. Since they gonna come get me anyway, we just put you in the hospital. Now, so far, the women don't want to go to the hospital first. Now, a lot of folks in the world, y'all would not do that, and that is why women beat on y'all. My thing is, I cannot control another person. The only thing I can do is guarantee, since they gonna come get me anyway, I might as well put you in the hospital. And some people think that that's wrong, and I shouldn't have that attitude. Well, no, that's called a deterrent. Most women don't want to go to the hospital. So in order to have an abusive relationship with me, you have to go to the hospital first. So a lot of them gonna choose not to do it. The one young lady who did hit me, I just said, hey, remember I told you, if we get into it, I'm going to beat the brakes off you. You're going to go to the hospital and you can go tell your family whatever you want. So I said, since you just touched me, I said, maybe you didn't believe me. So I said, do you, and I actually hit her. You know, I gave her a more than a love tap, I say. It wasn't no real hit, but it was more than a love tap. I said, you feel that? You want to fight me? I don't think you're going to win. And I literally told her, I'm gonna beat the brakes off you and put you outside. And you got to figure out life from that point forward. Because we ain't together no more. She decided never to touch me again. I think she was wise. And some people would say, well, Roger, that's being terrible. You're being a horrible person. No. I'm being a person who believes what my parents taught me. My parents taught me I was not put on earth to be abused. And I still believe them. Now, I done got put into a coma, y'all. But I fought for mine. I'm not saying people can't hurt me, but you're going to have to work for it. That's real talk. I ain't going to let nobody abuse me. I don't care if you Shaquille O'Neal. If Shaquille O'Neal slapped me, we just got to get into it. I ain't saying I want to get into it with a guy that big, but we going to have to get into it. Because you just ain't going to slap me and it's going to work out. It's few people who can touch me and not get the mess slapped out of them. It's a very, very small count of people who can do it. You know, and really those are like relatives, truth be told. You know, I got some friends, we play around, we hit each other. They hit me, I know it ain't no malice to it. I ain't gonna knock fire from them. But if a person touch me, I'm pretty much gonna knock fire from them. That's just the way I roll. But I leave everybody alone. I don't even believe in bothering people. So you ain't gonna never be able to say, well, Roger started. So Roger don't start nothing. Now, if you make me finish something, that's your fault. But I ain't gonna start nothing. So how can anybody be in an abusive relationship when you're volunteering to be with the person you claim is abusing you? I don't think it's abusive. I think you might be kinky. I think your requirements for love may be a little tricky. I just think we was raised in different households, and the way I see people treating each other well is obviously different than the way you see treating each other well. But I can't claim I'm abused if some woman slapping on me every day and I'm steady volunteering to get slapped. That just don't make sense to me. And if I'm slapping her every day, I can't see her being abused if she, how you gonna have sex with the person that's abusing you? That don't make sense to me at all. And I've said it in the past, y'all, for those who didn't catch it when I've said it in the past. If I know a man is with a woman, I'm not touching what's going on between them. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I don't even want to be involved. I don't care what happened to her. If I know that this is, or I can pick up on the fact, because maybe I don't know the couple. If I know that's his woman, I see that I could be at KFC. Shout out to KFC. If that man smacked fire from his woman, she obviously his woman, I ain't gonna do nothing but look. That's what I'm gonna do. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna gas. Truth be told, I'm not gonna care. If an opportunity opens up for me to get in front of the line, I'm gonna take that opportunity because people were shocked that somebody got slapped. Now, if I can use that to get in the front of the line, I'm gonna do that. But what I'm not gonna do is worry about what's going on between them, because that's his woman. Now, y'all may say, well, Roger, are you saying it's okay for men to slap women? No, I'm saying it's okay for people to have whatever kind of relationship they want to have if they grown. Now, if they was kids, something, maybe I'd jump in and be like, no, don't do that, bro. Y'all grown, I don't really care. It's that simple. I tried to stop a man from going to beat up his chick. I don't know if he beat his chick up or not, but she was doing stuff to him. He hit her. She came around the corner. I knew the police was in the area. I told dude, I didn't say don't beat your girl up. I said, dude, obviously she's trying to get you to fight with her, but the police is in the area. That's what I told him. What he do with his relationship, I don't care. If they actually get into a fight, that's their business. That ain't my relationship. I just want the dude to know the police is in the area. So if she's doing this to get you, rocking and rolling with her, understand they basically ran a corner. Okay. They in the area looking for, because I had already been stopped previously and they was looking for somebody and I wasn't too far away when I saw them. I pulled over somewhere to get something to eat. I saw them asking the food out there. I told dude, hey bro, the police is in the area right now because they looking for somebody. If you get into it with her, you probably gonna get caught. I'm just saying. Now, I don't know that he gonna beat her up. To me, I would now hindsight 22. I think at this particular point, it was just probably her trying to get him to do something to her, so she could call the police on him. I just know that was a bad time for him to do it. That's all it was. It wasn't gonna work out for him. Now, do I care if he do it? No, because if y'all want to beat each other up, and that's how y'all do y'all foreplay, is it really up to me to say how y'all should do y'all foreplay? And I know me just saying this alone, it sounds somewhat crazy, but I hear how people talk on a regular basis. Yeah, we once we fight, we have good breakup sex. If you saying stuff like that, I mean not breakup sex, but good makeup sex. If you saying stuff like we have good makeup sex, then guess what I know? You did something to really get into it, so there would be something to make up about, which means you don't really mind whatever the issue is. You don't mind if somebody slapped each other for real. You don't mind if it was a terrible argument. You don't mind whoever got verbally abused or whatever y'all say. Y'all really don't mind that stuff because you having this great makeup sex. I ain't never had makeup sex. And that's real talk, y'all. Because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. I ain't never had makeup sex. If it's over, it's over. It's that simple to me. If you give me some sex after the fact, we ain't finna make up. So that's just, if you try to manipulate me, it just didn't work. That's all I can tell you. It ain't gonna work. I ain't never had makeup sex. And I'm pretty sure I would die before I have makeup sex. I don't buy into all that type of stuff. Now y'all may think that's weird, but I just don't mess with people that think that they can abuse me. I don't do that. I don't have the stories some people have. I probably got better stories than some people have. But people got stories about how they went through all kinds of mess with this woman. I don't get y'all who say, well, I've been with this person for 5 years and we was struggling and we was beating on each other and we was treating each other like crap, but after 5 years we got it right. I don't relate to y'all. And I'm not saying that to be smug. I'm just saying I truly don't relate to y'all. Because if you put your hands on me and you're not my parents, and you are not somebody my parents allowed to hit me, I think I'm supposed to beat the break off of you. That's what I believe is my job at that point. I'm supposed to teach you I'm not a person to be abused. And however I got to get that done is allowed. That's what I believe. And I'm grown. I don't believe in picking on people. I've never bullied somebody in my life. I don't think that's cool. I have protected people if the situation calls for it that I can rock with. I got to agree to it. I've never protected a woman from her man. And I probably never will. If y'all like each other, have at it. I remember when I was young, the first time I seen something in the paper about a guy trying to get in somebody else's business, some man and some woman. It was two stories. I don't remember which one I seen first. The first two stories I seen, one guy jumped in to stop some man from beating up his woman. He ended up getting beat up because he got jumped on by both of them. They called the police into it, and the police arrested him for assault. He tried to help her stop getting beat on and ended up getting arrested for assault. And that's the one guy. The second guy I heard about, that man got stabbed and killed. He tried to stop some woman from getting quote unquote abused in a relationship, and that man died over. I don't like black women enough to just die over random women who are having sex with the men that are so-called abusing them. I don't care enough. And that's just real talk. I just don't care. Now maybe somewhere along the line, if I can be a better Christian, maybe I don't think the Bible's that's in the Bible anywhere that I can do anything like. I don't think it's gonna be that way. I think I'm pretty much gonna die like this. I don't care enough to save you from your man. I think if he's your man, he's supposed to be your authority figure. He's supposed to be leading you. And however he decides to lead you in this free country we got over here, I got to just be okay with it. I may not agree with it, but I got to be okay with it. And if it's really that bad, he just wouldn't be your man. That's how I look at it. You know? I see what women do. Oh, go ahead.
There ain't no victims in these relationships, and none of them. There are no victims. They're choosing to be together. Doesn't matter which direction the violence is going in, if there is any, or abuse. Since there's so many thousands, they got as many kinds of abuses as they got genders out there now. It's stupid, but there's no victims. There are no victims. Everybody's choosing to be where they are because we can get up and leave, as you illustrated earlier, whenever we get ready. They just count up the cost and figure it's too costly to leave. Well, if that's what you chose, that's what you chose. And who am I to say that what you choosing ain't what you want? I'll be honest with you. They need to get rid of some of these laws about this stuff. Hey, and the police need to show up. Hey, that's your man. Yeah, that's your woman. Yeah. So y'all both agree that y'all belong to each other. Okay, y'all have a good night. Y'all work that out.
To me, that sounds like how a call really should go. But see, one of the reasons I'm putting this out here is because, see, laws will change as people change. And I think as people, we fall into dialectic nonsense on a regular basis. There are people out there directing us to get involved in nonsense. I cannot believe in abuse when it comes to a relationship where it's socially voluntary. Now, understand what I'm saying, y'all. I can believe a child is getting abused. That's not a socially voluntary situation.
Correct.
I can believe a kid at school is being abused. That's not a socially voluntary situation. I can believe in all kinds of abuse that ain't got nothing to do with socially voluntary actions. But when you volunteer for it, I cannot classify something you volunteered to do as abuse. When you volunteer to run into a fight, let's say you got a good reason to run into a fight. You see some babies in the window. If some babies on the second floor, y'all, building on fire. It's a building on fire. You see some babies on the second floor. You want to be, not that you even really want to be a hero. You just want to save them babies. Now, if you run into that fire and you die over them babies, and whether you save them or not, you volunteered for that. Now, my thing is, if you die, yeah, you died a hero, but I ain't mad at somebody because you volunteered to run in there and get them babies. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to run in there and get them babies. But if you died because you ran in there to get them babies, it is what you volunteered for. Who am I supposed to be bad at and you volunteered for? That don't make sense to me. You know, I give a lot of respect to people in the military. Why? Because they could die. That's simple at the end of the day. I gotta respect the man who's willing to put it on the line and say, I might die over this. I gotta respect, even though I don't generally like police, I do know police. I'm related to some police. I still respect police, regardless of me liking them or not. Because I got to give you a certain amount of respect if you're willing to die. Because in a lot of cases, I ain't willing to die for y'all. I'm just gonna keep it real. I ain't tell you. It's very few people that I can really come off the top of my head that I'm gonna die for. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's almost impossible. I had a conversation not too long ago. People say, would you die for your mama? I said, I wouldn't die for my mama. My mama wouldn't want that. I don't get you as a person who think I'm supposed to die for my mama. My mama don't want me to die over her. My mama want me to live. What kind of mama you got? That's what I be trying to figure out. What kind of mama you got? If me and my mama's in a terrible situation, only one of us gonna make it out. We both want it to be me. Does that mean I don't love my mother? No, I know I love my mother. It would break my mama heart for me to volunteer and die and she still live. My mama don't want to bury me. But people like, oh, you sound crazy. No, I sound realistic. Now, I understand some of y'all mamas don't like y'all. Some of y'all mamas ain't got nothing close to love for you. But my mama actually loves me. It would break her heart if we was in a situation only one of us can live, and I decided I'm gonna go and die and force her to stay alive while I'm dead. That would break my mama heart. Now I get it. That could sound crazy, but that's because you're not looking at the fact that my mama loves me, and you need to figure out if your mama love you. Because if your mama love you, ain't nowhere in the world your mama want to die before you, especially if she has an opportunity to save your life. See, when you accept stuff, you accept stuff. See, because I wasn't abused as a child, and I actually recognize what love is. There's no decision for me and my mama to make. My mama want me to live, and you know what? I like me. I want to live anyway. Why would I fight my mama over that? Why would I fight my mama over me dying before her? And I know that's what she gonna want. You know, and people say, man, that sound crazy. Y'all sound crazy. You just ain't had nobody who loved you enough to tell you sound crazy. Because if you loved your mother, why would you do that to her? You want your mother to live for another 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you know, depending on how old y'all are, knowing that she just watched you die when she could have saved your life and died herself. You really want your mom to live with that? What kind of person are you? Real talk. But now my thing is, why would I come rescue some woman who like to have sex with a man who does something to her that I don't personally agree with, but she's an adult. They got a right to do this stuff. If she like getting slapped around, maybe that's how she get wet. She gets slapped around a little bit, that gets her wet. You know, I done came across women. Now I don't know how long this saying has been out there, y'all. I'm just telling y'all because men need to know it. Women go around talking about if you don't slug her, you don't love her. Now that sounds crazy to me. I know it sounded wild when I heard it the first time. But this is something women be saying behind men's back. If you don't slug her, you don't love her. How I need to rescue a woman and they got sayings like if you don't slug her, you don't love her? She don't need to be rescued. You know? Now y'all done heard that don't save her, she don't want to be saved. But people don't really think about it in a real situation. How do I need to save a woman who's having sex with a man? How do I need to save a woman from the man she's having sex with? How do I need to save a woman by the man that can make her wet? How do I need to save a woman from the man that she gets on her knees for to service him? When you actually think about it, this stuff just don't make sense. And if it don't make sense, how could it be abuse? Just because you don't like it don't mean it's abuse. You know? Now, my thing is this. If I had a daughter and I found out the neighbor across the street, and I didn't use this example before, I found out the neighbor across the street somehow got access to my daughter, was sexually abusing her. Now it comes out that he's sexually abusing her. Now I'm going to go across the street and kill him. That's what I'm going to do. Because that's my daughter. I'm supposed to protect her. Dude, out of here. It's that simple at the end of the day. I'm going to go across the street and kill him. Now, I know some people say, well, that's too far. He don't deserve all that. Well, truth be told, all sin is worthy of death. We all lucky to be alive. And when you want to get real, we all lucky to be alive. If it wasn't for God's grace, none of us would be here. All sin worthy of death. We all done did that. So I would go across the street and kill him. Now, people say, well, ain't you worried about the law? Hey, man, I'm just going to fight to get off. This is as simple as that. I'm just going to have to fight to get off. But what I cannot do as a father is let you sexually abuse my child and act like it's okay. Now, some men would say, well, I'm not going to do it because I want to make sure I can stay out of prison and I can take care of the rest of my... Y'all will handle it different. What am I going to do? I'm going to respect the man's decision on how he wants to handle it. That's what I'm going to do. I ain't gonna make fun of him for doing it different than me. I'm not gonna talk down on the man because he chose to do something. As long as he handled it, I don't care how he handles it. Me, my choice is I'm just gonna off the dude that was doing that, and I'll just deal with the consequence. That's just my personal decision. I'm not recommending somebody else do that because you got to deal with what comes with those type of personal decisions. I know what my decision gonna be, but I'm a man. I'm supposed to protect my child. If I have to do something that's not so comfortable for me to do that, that's what I got to do because it comes with the territory. I respect people's decisions, y'all. So if you quote unquote are being abused and you showing up to get abused on a regular basis, how am I supposed to see that as abuse? My daughter being taken advantage of, that's different. Let's say my daughter was 12 and some, 32-year-old abused her. It wasn't her choice. She didn't volunteer for that. So if I go do something to do across the street, I don't care. My daughter didn't volunteer for that. Now you a grown woman, you 28 years old, you with some guy, hey, he 30 years old, and he slap you across your face every night. You think I'm supposed to care? Now I don't care if it happens in front of me. Y'all together, it's fine. Y'all could be my neighbors. That's fine. I don't care. I wouldn't slap my woman across the face every night. But who am I to disrespect the man who decided that's what he want to do with his woman? The woman cool with it. She keeps showing up. I don't want to hear you not cool with something you keep showing up for. It's like a person who complain they got a job they don't like. I ain't saying you got to like your job, but if you tolerate it enough to keep showing up, right now it's a good fit for you. Maybe one day you leave because it ain't giving you what you want. I understand that too. But as long as you keep showing up there, it's a good fit for you for what you got going on right now. So I'm going to look at somebody claiming they're abused the same way. I just don't understand how you abuse, but you keep having sex with the person. Now, my thing is that go for man or woman. Because I know men getting abused out here. We don't talk about it the same way. But guess what? When you don't break up with black women, and I know black women are violent, it's not that hard to put two and two together.
Roger.
Go ahead, my brother.
Yes, man. 10 years ago, I was told about a new abuse that I never knew of. A government official said to me, because my wife she didn't have any money, didn't have any credit card. They said they can consider that financial abuse. I said, even though I pay for everything, they said, I didn't know my uncle was abusing my aunt. I didn't know that that's how it goes, but they said that she's supposed to have some kind of money. Even though I'm with her, she's supposed to have something in her name, some kind of money. They said that could be considered financial abuse if everything is in my name. Even though I'm paying for everything and she's happy, it could be considered financial abuse because she doesn't have anything in her name, even though she has my name.
You know what? I think those are scare tactics because, financial abuse is the newest abuse they trying to make. You know what I'm saying? I think it's about men, what are y'all going to accept or not? I can't understand financial abuse because women get to come home. Heck, some of them don't have to work at all. And a man pay for everything. And somehow that's not financial abuse. So if a woman can be a housewife and is not financial abuse, then I don't want to hear none of this stuff about financial abuse now.
Yeah, because my aunt Susie, she didn't have no checkbook, she didn't have no credit cards, but she had the latest clothes. She always happy. Uncle Bobby took care of all of that. So but I guess she was being abused. She didn't even know it. She just didn't know it.
Yeah, see, I can't.
Basically, it's saying if a woman ain't allowed to have debt, then she's being abused. Stupid.
It
But
so
she was
sound like it's
happy.
going to that level.
everything
If
was
you ain't
taken
gonna help
care
your
of.
wife cheat on you, she being abused. now, now,
Yeah.
now, my thing is this: she live in America, right? She ain't got to be married in the first place. Now, once you get married, that's between y'all. That's just how I see it. Once you get married, that's between y'all. I can only be involved if you bring me into it. Now, if a couple asks me something, sure, I give my opinion on what's going on with that couple. You know, I do stuff on this show where I can say certain things about couples, but even if y'all can't tell, I've been more and more careful about how I talk about anybody's wife because it's his wife at the end of the day. I can disagree with him, but I can't be against how he does his own wife. I can't be against him. I can disagree, but I cannot be against him, okay? Because that's his wife. And at the end of the day, he gonna do for her in ways I'm clearly not gonna do for her. So I can't criticize him like that, you know. I'll tell you I disagree with. I wouldn't do this and I wouldn't do that. But I can't say he wrong for doing his wife the way he doing his wife. And I've seen a lot of men over time do their wife a certain way, and people say that's abuse now. And their wife was fine. And because we live in a society where they keep trying to push equality, women can get jobs. If it was abuse, she'd just get a job and leave. That's the way I see it. Because I don't believe in coincidence. If she really felt something was bad, she just get a job and leave. You know what she also could do, y'all? My father told me this when I was a kid. Okay. It's still true. At least so far. If won't nobody give you a job, you can just give yourself one. That's still true to this day. So any woman who believes she's being abused, I would have to figure out why won't she just create her own job? Because there are women who say, well, he won't let me get no job. Why don't you just create one? And then some people say, well, you know, creating a job for yourself ain't that easy. And I'd be like, well, ain't we adults? Aren't adults supposed to do the hard stuff? We adults, right? Who's supposed to do the hard stuff in life? Adults or children? Because you only got two to pick from. So when people start saying stuff is hard, that don't really mean nothing to me because we're adults. So if we're not doing the hard stuff, that means we think kids supposed to do the hard stuff. Should the children be doing all the hard stuff or should the adults be doing the hard stuff? So if you got to give yourself a job so you can quote unquote leave, then why don't you just give yourself a job to do that? And see, with all this free stuff out here for women, I can't see what the problem is. I understand I live in a country where a woman could literally walk outside the door to her home with nothing but the clothes on her back. She ain't gonna make it a mile down the road before a bunch of guys pull over and ask to take her somewhere. There are even a few women out there, if they believe the woman's in trouble, they're gonna pull over and ask her too. And you know, if you tell them some story that, yeah, I was with this abusive man, they definitely gonna let you in the car and take you somewhere. And with all these shelters out here, okay, I just don't understand how any woman could be in a situation where she's not okay. Not in America, y'all. Maybe somewhere else around the world. But in America, I just don't understand how you're not okay. So if you get to choose to be in whatever kind of situation you in, how can I look at the situation you're volunteering to be in as abuse? And I get it. People would try to say, well, Roger, you ain't got no heart. Sounds stupid to me. Roger, you need to have empathy. Empathy for what? The person who can leave whenever they want? That's the person you want me to have empathy for? The person who literally can leave whenever they want? What am I supposed to empathize with? I know how to use a door. I empathize with the fact that I know how to use the door. And you know what? I empathize with the fact that I can walk out of a door. Okay? I don't see women in wheelchairs complaining that they're being abused, y'all. I'm just going to keep it real. I don't see women in wheelchairs complaining that they're being abused. And with all these women that swear they're being abused and they got full-time jobs, what more you need to leave? Because you technically ain't got to get a second job to leave. A lot of folks work at a place that they're going to get protection from anyway. They could call the police or they work in some building where you just can't walk up to an employee. You got to go through security first, you know? So I just don't understand how you could be getting abused when everything you need to quote unquote not be abused is already in place. Shout out to Fresh from a Nap. He says, what do you call it when you're not in a relationship? If you're not in a relationship, it's not socially voluntary. Do you not get that? It's called assault. If you hit a person, if you hit a person that you're not in a relationship with, that means you don't have a permission. That's called assault. You can go to jail for assault. Y'all not get that? And I'm not saying Fresh from a Nap. I'm not saying you saying that from a malice place or anything like that. I'm just using that comment to say something that should be obvious to most people. And I'm not saying it ain't obvious to you. You may have just asked it because you felt the question needed to be asked. But y'all, real talk, if you hit a person that you don't know, if y'all don't agree to that, you actually go to jail for assault if somebody calls the cops. Now, if you with your friend and y'all get into it, y'all just friends fighting. It's nothing. Heck, you could be with a stranger. If y'all agree to the fight, y'all just agreed to a fight. It is what it is. But if you out there in the streets and somebody just go upside your head, that's called assault. You could just call the cops. I had him arrested. You also could kill them because you got a right to defend yourself. And if you kill them during your self-defense, they just burn up. So if you're not in a relationship, you can go as far as killing the person. But if you're in a relationship, I'm supposed to say that it's not abuse. That don't make sense to me. You're not in a relationship, you can go as far as killing the person, and everybody's supposed to understand why you killed them. Because hey, it was self-defense, right? But somehow you get in a relationship, and now I'm supposed to believe that you can't defend yourself. I'm supposed to believe that you don't know how life works. You know, it just don't make sense. It don't make sense at the end of the day. Now, shout out to Naeem Reed. He says dumb take. Naeem Reed, I only believe things are dumb takes when you say something nobody even knows what position you're taking to even say it's a dumb take. But if you truly believe something is a dumb take, if you actually believe that, because you may just be a person in a chat that just wants to get some attention, if you actually believe that, there is a link where you can actually join the panel and you can give, in whatever your opinion is, a better take. You know, you're welcome to do so. You know, if you can explain it's better, you're welcome to come explain it. And that's real talk. Okay? So when you show up to get beat on, that's not abuse, y'all. Have y'all figured out why boxers don't go to jail? Because guess what they do? They have an event. They plan this event out. People buy tickets for this event. They make money off these events. Now, are they going to hit each other? Yes, they are. Could you say that's assault? Sure, you could say it's assault, but the reason you can't say it's assault is because they volunteered for it. When you volunteer for things, it changes the dynamics of what's supposed to go on around the thing. When somebody hits you without your permission, it's very different than getting hit with permission. If you are in a relationship with a person and you go get slapped across the mouth every day when you come home, you have implied that you volunteer for that because you keep showing up. Only a dummy keeps showing up to get beat on if they don't want to get beat on. See how that works, Naeem? Not that I'm picking on you. I'm just, I think that's a nice name. Hey, you see how that works? When you volunteer for it, they don't do nothing. Y'all know what they do at fights? Not only do they not arrest the fighters who volunteered for it, they will actually protect the fighters from you, the crowd. They literally do that. They protect the fighters from you, the crowd, the people who came to watch the fight. They will protect the fighters from you. Now, if you're a boxer and maybe you got a terrible record, maybe you 1-32. You got a terrible record. Can you claim abuse because you 1-32? Even though you've been volunteering? You've been volunteering to stay on the circuit. You steady showing up. You may not get into the big fights you want, but you steady showing up. You 1-32. Maybe that win was over technicality, but you 1-32. You making your money for being a fighter. You might making the biggest money, but you making your money. You 1-32. So now, if somebody, you want to fight somebody for your 34th fight, you 1-32. That means you got 33 fights in. I'm supposed to look at the 34th fighter as the person that's abusing you now? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Let's say you get a fighter, he mollywop you, okay? He start mollywop you all across that ring. It's like a fight that should have never been set up. He dog walking you. He just playing with you. He ain't gonna knock you out because he's just trying to give the fans a show. And since you can't fight, he's able to give the fans the show. So now am I supposed to be like that 34th fighter abused you when you voluntarily showed up all 34 times? You are 1-32 before the fight. Your only victory is by technicality. Am I supposed to believe that you're getting abused? I mean, we can say it in the slang way, you're getting abused. We can make that a funny thing, but no, you're not getting abused. You're getting paid after these fights. Okay, may not be a lot because you're not a good fighter. You definitely get some low-end purses. Maybe you don't make it on TV too much, but you showing up for your fight, so we paying you anyway. The organization's still paying you. Are you getting abused? Okay, are you getting abused? Now, it may, at once you done got to the point of 1-32, and they got you signed up to fight somebody that everybody clearly know gonna dog walk you. Now, fans might be saying they shouldn't even set this fight up. That's gonna be abuse. They don't mean abuse for real. They mean abuse as a joke. So now you 1-32 at home, y'all. You 1-32 at home. Okay? We can laugh at the boxer who 1-32. You can laugh at the boxer. You see him about to take on that 34th fight, and that person been a mollywop them all across that ring. Gonna beat him up bad enough to do everything but fall. Y'all ever seen a fighter get toyed with where they just beat you enough where you, not so you'll fall down because they don't want no TKO to pop off. They beat you just enough to keep standing. Okay, y'all. Now let's say you 1-32 at home. Maybe she won one off technicality. Maybe she won one off technicality. So she 1-32 at home. Am I supposed to believe she being abused? Okay. Now maybe I came over for dinner. Maybe I was invited. Okay, maybe I'm invited. We having an event or something. Or what? Maybe I'm coming for the event. Now, for whatever reason, they not waiting for people to go home. Or maybe dinner's over, people going home, but I'm still there. I'm like one of the last people to leave. Maybe I'm still there. So all of a sudden, somebody mad. Y'all get into it. I was putting my coat on to leave. Y'all can't wait for me to get out. So here come 34. Okay, you 1 in 32. Here come fight 34. And I start seeing him dog walk you. Am I supposed to jump in? Number one, we already at your home. You at home. What you want me to do? You at home. I see him get the first two in. Whoa. Boy, that man got quick hands, okay? Boy,
Hey,
he
but
got some quick hands.
Roger, you didn't step in and say it's time for you to retire.
Realistically speaking, I ain't leaving till after the fight. Just if this somehow would happen, realistically speaking, I'm not leaving till I believe this fight over with. Let's just keep that. Now, am I gonna pull out my phone and start recording? Nope, because obviously I was invited. So these are, this is friends or family. So I'm not gonna record it. You know what I'm saying? But the chance of me walking out while the fight is taking progress, yeah, I'm probably gonna sit there and watch that. Now, once it's over with, I'll probably be like, okay, well, y'all, I said I had to go, so let me get on up out of here. Y'all have a good night. Now, I know that's gonna sound funny to y'all if I'm saying y'all have a good night and somebody just lost the fight. That ain't my business, man. That ain't my business. Okay, I got the privy to watch the fight. I'm satisfied. Okay, when they start putting stakes on each other's eyes, or somebody got to go change clothes because they stuff got messed up or whatever. I ain't doing all that. And I'm just finna go get in the car, peel off, and go on to the crib. That's what I'm gonna do. I ain't worried about that fight. Now, if somebody's a close friend, maybe it's somebody I can tell about the fight who was gonna find out anyway. We can have a laugh about this. But if ain't nobody close enough for me to even expose the fight to, I just go home. Because there wasn't no abuse. That's a loving couple who love each other. They live together. They ride. What is that thing they said in the movie? They ride together, they die together. Why would I get involved in that couple's business? And I get it. You might say, well, it's beyond their business if they hitting on each other. He's abusing her. No. If that was abuse, she wouldn't keep showing up for that. No one shows up to get abused. People show up because they like where they're going to. How many times have y'all been somewhere that you didn't want to be? Now, I get it. Some people can say, well, no, I go to work every day and I don't want to be there. From a certain context, that's true. But from a certain context, that's not true. The reason you go to work is because you think that place is good enough and you getting that money off of it. Point blank, period. If it was that terrible, you'd have found another job. But you like that money that comes with whatever that job. I don't care if that job is literally picking up horse manure. You like it enough to keep showing up. So you can say in a certain context, you don't like that job, and I can understand where you're coming from. But the truth is, you like it enough to keep showing up. So what do I know about a woman who claims she's being abused? She likes her situation enough to keep showing up. And I get it. Some people may say, well, Roger, what if she died because she took abuse too much? And I'm going to ask you, who am I to decide how long she get to live or die? Why you think that's my decision? Maybe she wanted a life where she felt so bad about herself that she felt she needed to be with somebody who was going to beat her up. She got a right to that. Now the thing is, a dude can be in the same situation, and people don't even care. If the man is in a situation, especially if he got one of them little women, like a 4'11" woman, she 4'11". I keep using that 4'11" because it's funny to me, y'all. If you ain't picked up on it, I'm always making a woman like 4'11". But if she 4'11" and she beating on that dude, and one day that man died because she hit him too hard or something, or she knocked him across the head or whatever, he fell back or something, hit his head on something, and he died. Who am I to tell that man how long he should live or not? Is this not his choice? Is this not his world? Is he
Roger, I
not a
literally
grown
had a
man?
coworker. I had a coworker who came in and said, "I don't want to do anything. I hate this job. I don't want to be here. They're abusing me." So I said, "Well, just go home. You don't need to be here." "Well, I want that money." Well, I said, "Well, then you're going to expect to be, you're going to have to do something to get this money. So either do it or go home." They got mad at me, but they stayed and worked.
Now you know what, Tony Runner? I ain't gonna even say I'm the smartest man in the world, but I can follow that logic. I can follow that. So you say if you don't want the money, just go home. And he showed up a job that he didn't even want to be at in the first place. That makes sense to me. He can go home.
Yeah.
I bet money they ain't gonna try to stop anybody from leaving that establishment. They don't do that there at that joint, do they? Do they stop people from leaving? Do they stop people from going home?
Matter of fact, they want the people that stayed there a long time to go home because they're paying them the most. They want a new person in there.
They want you to volunteer to get on the fire.
Yeah, they want you to leave. You become more costly the older you get.
Well, how could it be abuse? He keeps showing up for
it. Yep. I agree. I was trying to. Hey, I don't need to hear this. You just you depressing, depressing me.
And see, the thing that's crazy about this, people take this in such a bad way. Okay, you see a loving couple. Now I understand you don't get how they love work. You don't get how they love work. But you see a loving couple. They beat on each other a little bit. Okay. Or maybe the woman always beating on a man. Maybe the woman's always beating on what I say. Maybe the woman's always beating on the man, or maybe the man is always beating on the woman. But that's a loving couple. They express their love in a way that you are not used to. They express their way in a way that you probably wouldn't admit that you do. Cause let's keep it real, y'all. A lot of folks ain't perfect. So y'all done did a little something. Y'all just ain't admitted to nobody. Okay. I ain't accusing nobody. I'm just saying people do stuff that they don't admit that they did stuff to somebody. This couple who loves each other, who've been together for years, who quote unquote got each other's back. Okay, they're a little abusive to each other. If it's good enough for them, why they ain't good enough for me? If that's how they want to express their love to each other, why can't that just be good enough for me? Why do people think I got to feel some type of way about this couple who lovingly beats on each other, or who lovingly one beats on the other person, and it's not seen as okay? And I get it. Some people, they do truly believe it's okay as long as the woman's beating on the man, and they're gonna make stupid excuse talking about he can't feel it or it don't hurt him, so it don't matter. No, man, I got a black eye when I bought into that nonsense. I got a black eye. Smooth after buying into that nonsense. Hey, you fooled me once. Y'all know the saying, you can't fool me again. Shout out to George W. Shout out to W. Okay, you fooled me once. You You can't fool me again, okay? So now the thing is, if a man's doing it, people act like it's an issue. But when the woman doing it, it's not supposed to be an issue because the man's supposed to accept abuse. And see, this is the thing, y'all. I do believe men and women should be treated separately in a lot of different ways. But what I don't believe in is humans agreeing with the abusing other humans. I don't agree with that. Now, I've admitted there's some places around the world, according to the stuff I hear, people don't necessarily get into socially voluntary situations. But I also don't believe in telling other countries what to do. I don't think America should be doing that. Okay? Don't make sense to me. All right? So what they do in other places, that's on them. Now, if it gets too bad, everybody can leave. Okay? If it gets too bad, you can always just pick it up and rotate on up out of there. That's something everybody could do. Well, if it's that bad. Now, me with a life that's pretty good, ain't nothing that bad for me to move over. You know? Nothing's that bad that I got to move. And I appreciate that. But I cannot see abuse where people are volunteering to be there. I just can't see it. You know? And there's clearly nothing wrong with me. So if you see it, you should really start asking yourself, what's wrong with you? How come you don't respect couples that love each other? Now, I do understand some of y'all gonna say, well, that's not love. How you gonna define what they see as love? I ain't saying you got to agree with it, but how you gonna define what they see as love? Or if you say, well, that's not the definition of love, I wouldn't argue that. But how you gonna stop them from getting what they want? This how they want to do each other. Do y'all understand? Some people just want to do each other. Somebody wants a man that they can hit on. Some women want some guy wants a woman that he can just hit on. He can hit her and ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it. He likes that. You know, it's a woman, she can hit a man and ain't nobody gonna say nothing about it. She likes that. That's the idea she going for. Now, just because it ain't cool with me, who am I to say they can't be cool with it? So once you volunteer, is it abuse? Y'all remember slavery was a problem, right? They didn't volunteer to do that. Okay. There were people who didn't volunteer. There were some indentured servants out there, y'all. They didn't volunteer to be slaves. They said they would do slave labor for a period of time, maybe 7 years or so. I do some slave labor. You know, you can treat me like your slaves for 7 years. But after that, I need to get this, that, and that. And that's going to be the way it rolls. Why is that such a bad thing? Sound like the right thing to me. Y'all stay out of other folks' business like that, okay? Don't make it so personal. It's one thing for us to come on social media and talk about some stuff, but if it's your neighbor, you probably want to stay out of that. If it's your daughter, I understand the man's love for his daughter. Call your daughter, give her your opinion, but you got to let your daughter be her daughter. Be your daughter. So even if it's hitting home, it's hitting close. If it's your daughter, you got to respect that your daughter has accepted another man as her leader. And truth be told, ain't really much you can do about that. Now you can become more comfortable with that. So the idea sets in the home better, quicker, easier, faster. But what we can't do is change no past, y'all. We can't do that. Past is what the past is. Now I'm gonna recommend that nobody abuse each other, anybody in the future. But I'm gonna recommend nobody hit somebody in the future. I think it'll just be better. But what I'm not gonna do is act like black men have an issue beating up on black women when we won't hit women. We're trained not to do that. And I know there's a lot of abusive stories out there, and I'm just telling y'all, black women are making them up. Just is what it is. You say whatever you want to say, black women are making them up. Oh. So I guess I'm gonna bring this to a close because I done said a lot. I done said a good amount. Okay. Ain't nobody else come up. Maybe this type of subject matter, people can see is a little touchy. All right. And I understand that. Maybe people don't want to say certain things. I'm not saying that's what it is. And it could just be timing. But y'all, I'm going to tell you, like I told people many times before, if a woman hit me, she in a fight. See, if a man hits me, y'all expect me to be in a fight. So do I. If a woman hits me, y'all don't expect me to be in a fight. And I'm just going to say y'all silly. Because it ain't even about the woman. It's about the principle. If I let somebody else hit me, then other people going to think it's okay to hit me. I just don't want people thinking it's okay to hit me. Again, y'all, I would never start a fight. I don't do that. I don't bother people. I respect people. I respect their decisions, even if they're decisions I don't agree with. Because I respect every man's right to be a governor of his situation. And I can't wait till most black men start respecting black men's right to govern their own situation. That's going to be a great, great, great day. And I want y'all to have a great, great, great day. So I'm getting up out of here, y'all. I'm getting out a little early today, which is fine by me. Fine by me. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. Matter of fact, if you don't know, we do this Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Chicago time. I get it. You live in Boston. I don't know what Boston is. But now Boston could fall into the time zone. It might. I don't care what time zone you live in. You make sure you adjust to Chicago's time zone, y'all. And we will do this 9 a.m. Chicago time, Monday through Fridays, y'all. Monday through Fridays. And now, if y'all was going to come up after the show, come on up. I look like I got my first one right now. Come on, y'all. Come on if you was going to come up after the show. Don't be all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.